Welcome to Just Asia, AHRC TV's weekly human rights program. This week, Just Asia focuses on its completion of 250 episodes. Welcome to AHRC TV's Just Asia. I'm Alexandra. This week, Just Asia is marking its completion of 250 episodes. For the last 5 years, AHRC TV's news program has been providing a weekly broadcast of human rights news. The first of its kind in Asia, the online news report has been bringing together stories and cases from victims, activists, journalists, and all those interested in human rights. Just Asia is a platform not only for the voiceless to share the narratives, but also an alternate source of information for those wanting to learn and act on human rights in Asia. Aside from victim interviews, the news program also brings together messages from lawmakers, UN officials, parliamentarians, and human rights defenders. In this way, Just Asia helps to build solidarity and network across communities and countries. On this occasion, Just Asia brings you a message from the Asian Human Rights Commission's chairperson, Jack Clancey, and Director of Policy and Program Development, Basil Fernando.
I'd like to congratulate Just Asia for completing more than 250 of their weekly sessions. And each session has about 5 stories on it, so there's quite a few stories have been told during this period. There have been interviews with the victims of human rights abuses themselves, human rights defenders who are helping them, as well as parliamentarians, lawmakers, and UN officials who are also speaking out for and on behalf of the people whose human rights have been violated. The problem is increasing rather than decreasing. Unfortunately, there are too many stories to do. We have everything from the Rohingya issue in Myanmar to the drug war victims in the Philippines. People are being killed, the families of the victims are there. There are positive signs with more people becoming aware of their rights, more people being released from jail, people who have been tortured have been stopped as a result of the publication of their stories. And we hope that more people will use YouTube, people who are interested in human rights, people who are following these issues, who would like to know more about the countries, particularly Nepal, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Myanmar, as I mentioned, South Asia in general, Southeast Asia in general, who will look at these incidents that we have recorded, the views of people that we have recorded, and hopefully if they become more aware of these problems, they would also respond in some way, in whatever way they think is most practicable, to help support both the peoples whose rights are abused and those who are working to defend the rights of others.
Just Asia video documentary program, which is telecast once a week, has completed its 250th episode. This program covers human rights abuses in Asia every week. Producers must be congratulated for consistent work, which has made this attractive program, which informs lots of people who are interested in these matters about the plight of victims in these cases, so that they could come to the rescue for getting redress for such abuses. Idea of this program that the human rights education should be brought to the media, particularly by the use of internet, into a larger audiences, so that they will have access to such information. Producing of 250 episodes requires enormous amount of commitment and very hard application. So I wish this program will be continued. More people will have access to the program.
Just Asia has regularly taken up stories from Indonesia, passionately provided by the AHRC's country staff, Biantoro. Chris shares some of his experiences regarding the program, how it benefits the people he works with on the ground, as well as future challenges.
First of all, I would like to congratulate the Just Asia program, which is ASEAN Human Rights Commission weekly TV programs. And of course, as a human rights activist and also many community of victims of human rights cases in Indonesia, also very happy with this program. And also, once again, congratulations that this program already reached 250 episodes. Based on our experience, this program is very useful and also meaningful for us. It's really helpful to our advocacy effort in national and also local level in Indonesia. We already published many stories and also cases from Indonesia, and we expect that many people in Asia and also international level watch our human rights cases, human rights situation in Indonesia. The problem is that not many people in remote area especially can access this program. So many people still have problem with the internet access. That's why we copy the story of Just Asia. We record in the DVD and we distribute to some community in the remote area, so they can also watch the story. They can also learn from experience and also cases from other country in Asia. So in the future, we expect that this program still continue, have some additional or extra times, and also make some different stories, special Just Asia program. And of course, we expect that more story, more human rights cases from Indonesia and also other country in Asia could be published in this program. So once again, congratulations for Just Asia.
Bringing the voices of victims to a wider audience has been a key aim of Just Asia. Towards this end, the program has consistently interviewed victims and encouraged them to share their stories. One such person is Mr. Basil Fernando, a survivor of the 1965-66 massacre in Indonesia. Today, Mr. Uko shares his views and feedback regarding Just Asia.
I think the Just Asia television's Asian human rights, it is very needed because it will help to combine the voices of victims, echoing, so that the world communities may hear, and at the end, the human rights criminals, the perpetrators, will be sentenced to the human rights court. That is the very important one. So the perpetrators should take responsibility for their actions which have killed the lives of victims without trial. Just Asia televisions is very necessary because it will continue to increase duration. So this is my advice, that the television should increase the durations of broadcasting. Just Asia TV, Asian Human Rights Courts should expand the victims' testimony and increase the space for truth-telling to show evidence and facts of crimes.
Based in Hong Kong, Just Asia has always paid attention to issues of human rights and democracy affecting the territory. Just Asia's former news anchor and Hong Kong resident, Annie Lin, speaks about her experience of the news program.
Congratulations with the 250th episode of Just Asia. I'm really proud that I've had the opportunity to contribute as an anchor previously. Just Asia plays a really important role in allowing victims of human rights abuses to tell their stories. As an organizer and activist in a Hong Kong human rights organization, I work with prisoners' rights, and I think that Just Asia showed Hong Kong people that problems with torture and degrading treatment was not just a local problem, but that these things happen all over Asia and that it has to be fought together. The tireless work done by Just Asia by exposing what's going on is extremely important, not only by letting people know what's going on, but it connects different countries and NGOs in the fight for achieving justice and freedom for all.
Indigenous groups and marginalized sections of society often find it particularly difficult in getting their voices heard and issues addressed. Just Asia has frequently taken up such stories from India's northeast region, where numerous human rights violations occur. U Jennison, coordinator at the Northeast Dialogue Forum India, shares his message.
Just Asia, the program of AHRC, have reached out to various parts of the world, spreading the message of various human rights violations across Asia and gain the support and solidarity to overcome and fight for one's rights. Just Asia also helped to highlight and explore across the globe the gross human rights violations being committed by the states towards the indigenous peoples, by the state armed forces in the northeastern part of now India. The struggle of the indigenous people to have basic human rights continues till date, since the imposition of the Armed Forces Special Power Act 1958 in the northeastern region. The imposition of such act is closely associated with various developmental projects which fail to maintain the basic standards of guidelines, such as the United Nations guiding principles for the business and human rights and other international guidelines. In order to highlight such issues, the role of AHRC's Just Asia is very important to gain the global solidarity to fight against the violators and also to encourage the people to continue to struggle. Therefore, we need to strengthen the Just Asia program and continue to contribute to the work of the human rights defenders to Just Asia.
As one of the AHRC's most regular and established programs, Just Asia is well known to AHRC staff, many of whom contribute to the broadcast in various ways. Sister Maria Zaborowski, editor at the AHRC, shares her unique take on the program.
I'm going to be speaking about 5 different words that relate to our presentation weekly on the TV. We are using English in our documents, and English is kind of the great leveler because in all of the countries that we work in, different languages. So by using English, we can have a common denominator for us to communicate with one another. And then along that line, we're talking about the staff that works here, that's very hardworking, and the staff that has what I call a spirit of hospitality, which is a welcoming spirit, in which I see in some of the documents that they produce. And for me personally, that word is very provocative. So a spirit of hospitality goes right into the documents that we produce. And I'm an old lady of 86 years old. I've been working in medicine all my life until I got the job here. And of course, in medicine, you're talking about the physical health of people. But here, I became alert to the fact that there is healing going on in our interactions with people who have suffered violations. So the interaction and the healing that they experience will be spiritual and will be psychological. That will help them to regain their lost happiness. So I think that to me, when I see our staff producing healing documents, it's very, very uplifting for me. I like what I do. I like editing. And I have a goal for myself of the 3 C's. The first thing is I want it to be crisp, like an apple. When you're crunching an apple, it's crisp and juicy, and it conveys what an apple is. So I want our documents to be crisp like that. And they have to be clear. We can't have thousands of adjectives. We have to have it clear and clean so that it is not long and wordy. But when people start to read it, they want to continue to read it. They don't want to say, oh, this is too long. And my last word would be about AHRC itself. We have a very good name in our human rights family. We have a good reputation. And I think that we have set up a mechanism in Asian human rights for dealing with violations of human rights in Asia.
Regional and international networking and advocacy is another goal of Just Asia. One issue where this is greatly needed is the plight of Burma's Rohingya minority. a topic Just Asia has consistently highlighted. Adam Carroll, a regular contributor and resource person on the Rohingya issue, gives his opinion on the news program.
Hi, this is Adam Carroll from Burma Task Force Justice for All. We wanted to throw our hat in the ring and say that we really appreciate the work of Amila Santap, the Just Asia programming, and we think that it makes a difference for us because we are based in Chicago. I'm in New York at the UN. We need that extra information about Asian thinking, Asian concerns, a range of human rights subjects, and it helps us to see how our focus, which is the genocide of the Rohingya and the human rights crisis in Myanmar, fit into the larger scheme, the discourse, if you will, in Asia. And we'd like to see a lot more support in the ASEAN countries especially, a lot more pushback against some of the trends we see, unfortunately. So many problems against minorities in China, for example. So let's build a human rights movement, and let's all be part of it, from New York here to Shanghai, to the EU countries, to Hong Kong. So thank you very much. Keep up the good work.
Lastly, Just Asia would like to thank all of its contributors, supporters, and audience for making the program possible. Please continue sharing your stories and feedback with us and working with us to improve human rights in Asia. That is all for this episode of Just Asia. For more on these and other issues, please visit www.humanrights.asia or www.alrc.asia/justasia. Thank you for watching and see you next week.